Next, we're going to look at creating the splashes that occur, or the little emissions of snow that would occur upon collision with the mountain surface. Perhaps you might even get some rocks or chunks breaking off in these more craggy areas. To achieve the collision, you might first be tempted to look under the emitters folder and use an emit splash from surface collision. But the emit splash is an actual emission compound, much like the emit from surface that we're using is. And generally in an ice tree, you can only use one emission at a time. That's not exactly true, but in our purposes, for our purposes anyways, we actually don't need to use an emit splash from surface collision. It's going to make it a little more complex than things need to be. If we look down under the spawning category of nodes, we'll find a node called spawn on collision, or a compound rather, called spawn on collision. If we have a look at the bounce off surface with friction compound that we use to calculate the interaction with the mountain, the bounce off surface contains an execute on collide port. And we can execute the spawning of new particles from that collision location by using this compound. So I'll bring this into the graph, spawn on collision, and its output type is an execute on collision. So it's made to work in conjunction with this bounce off surface compound, or in a state machine. So I'm going to plug the execute on collide output into the execute on collide input. And one of the things to also keep in mind is that now we're going to have two different point or particle streams within the same cloud, or two different ideas. One set of particles is controlling the amount, the boulders themselves, the 20 boulders or particles that are being emitted at a certain speed and size. And the spawn on collision is going to do something different as well. They're going to emit snow-colored particles. So on the emit from surface compound, we can specify that the boulders during their boulder behavior represent state 0, or a yellow color, and the spawning particles represent a new particle being emitted, and we'll also define a new state for them. So if we need to create different shaders in the render tree, or control the behavior through the ice tree, we can easily identify which particles we're working with.